You're welcome back to NKA on Afia TV. But of course, we're here to give you a special edition. So, when things are special, a lot of work is put into it. And it does take a lot of time to achieve this. So, like I said, we do apologize. We are back and we are better to serve you better. All right. I have distinguished guests with us, but I'll start from home. One thing about home is where the heart is. And this man is the heartbeat of Afia TV. I like what he wrote on his bio on Twitter about not being paid to watch movies any longer. He's a lover of art, technology, books. You need to see the library we have at Afia TV. But most importantly, and I do sympathize with him with regards to this, he is a long-suffering Arsenal fan. Well, joining me tonight is the MD CEO of Afia TV and Radio, Mr. Emeka MBA.
Jumai. It's okay.
There's a lot to get to.
You don't have to bring football and I'm a Arsenal sympathizer.
Correct. Scratch that. Arsenal sympathizer.
Yes, that's correct. That's better to put it that way.
Okay. It's a pleasure to have you on the couch.
Thank you. Always. Thank you.
All right. And we do have a beautiful lady right here with me. When you hear the name NF, what comes to mind? The Eastern Nigerian International Film Festival. She is the CEO, co-founder, Eastern Nigeria Film and Arts Initiative, cultural historian, impact producer, and our very own family member here at Afia TV. Joining us tonight is no other than the one and only Ajuaku Akukwe. Good evening, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us. Always looking fabulous. And joining us is another distinguished member of this household. There's a lot to say about this man, especially as he's also on the advisory board of NF, also with Mr. Emeka MBA. But when you talk about Mr. Femi Odugbemi, you think about movies, you think about filmmaker extraordinaire, you think about IREP Film Documentary Festival, you think about so much. But I decided not to go down that route to introduce him tonight. Well, joining me tonight is a storyteller, a filmmaker, a jazz music lover, a coffee lover, and another long-suffering Arsenal fan. Joining me.
Why did I know you were doing that?
Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
I do sympathize.
Yes.
It's a lot to go through. It's a lot of weight to carry on your shoulders. So I do understand.
Obviously, you didn't see the last Champions League game against Sporting. I'm not one to boast.
Are you guys choosing to live in the past glory or what?
Well, we're building a new one.
Well, I believe and I hope that things will change. Emeka, are you hopeful also?
I'm always hopeful.
Okay. All right. That's good to know.
I'm always hopeful.
That's okay. Well, we're also hopeful for Arsenal. So shout out to all the Arsenal fans right there. I know you guys are looking at me and giving me the stinky eye, but not forgetting that we're streaming live on Facebook, Instagram at Afia TV Official, and on Facebook at Afia TV. Wow, NF at 5. You have come a long way, and it's super fantastic to see an organization like this that was created to showcase the rich cultural heritage of the Southeast first, and of course, the whole of Nigeria. How do you feel coming this far?
I feel gratitude, blessed, overwhelmed with joy, and very excited about the future.
That's lovely to see. Now, a lot of people who have been following NF have seen how much you have evolved over the years. What would you say has been the highlight of this year's edition?
I think for us, it's been the partnership, one, and two, the programs we're able to curate, and not just programs like normal workshops, but impactful programs, the training, the mentorship, above all, the empowerment. Because sometimes you host a film festival, people come, enjoy the workshop, watch films, and they go home. But this year, it's so different because we, aside from training, we're also empowering. there's lots of money on the table for young creatives in Southeast to benefit from, set up their businesses, go on their creative endeavor, no matter the content they want to create. So I think that's something that stood out for us this year. Then the partnership, having the British Council and the European Union and NKA supporting us this year, and having Afia TV for the third time. So it's something it's really brilliant. Then the opening theme, having this lovely gentleman here in Enugu with his team. I mean, what more can we ask for? So it's been a beautiful 4 days event, and we can't wait for 2025.
I definitely agree with you. But I'd like us to have a video and take a look at what people have to say. Not just people, some key players in the community, what they have to say about Enif at 5.
Good, because it's an attempt to showcase what we're capable of. Most of the time, these things are done outside the East. Whereas if you're thinking about recognized, celebrated actors today, most of them are from Igbo land. So it's good we're having something like this. Progressively, it will blossom into something very big. I foresee it acquiring international dimensions in the next couple of years. So I am glad to be part of it.
Something I know, like a certain business guru was saying that if you set up a business, you must give it 5 years to balance out and normalize what you call the gestation period and all of that. So there's 5 years of NA, and it's getting better. There's nobody in the whole of the East, even in most parts of Nigeria, that will say they don't know about NA.
Well done, because I joined, out of the 5 years, I think I've attended for 3 years now consecutively. And what I noticed is that with each one, it gets better. This one is looking way more sophisticated than it was last year. Last year was good, but looking at even this opening day, you already know how the entire festival is going to look like. That's why I said 9. So thank you to the organizers, and thank you for always choosing.
To say a lot about NF, it's another thing for you to hear the feedback from the people. How did that make you feel?
Overwhelmed. And like what happened today at Impact Lab, hearing the young filmmakers, aspiring filmmakers as well, sharing how what they heard today from the facilitator blessed them, how they see themselves in the next 2-3 years being able to be that filmmaker they want to be. It's something that we take back because this is a thankless job. So when you hear feedback, testimonies, and you feel grateful that at last the vision and the mission we have by coming to Southeast is paying off. And we've also seen people that have gone through our training doing great things, like the guy that was part of the volunteer team, taking all the pictures, all the videos you see on YouTube, on our Facebook and social media channels. So it's been good, it's been lovely, it's been fantastic, it's been exciting. And what I can say going forward is we are not done yet. We are just starting. We've not even done anything at all. But the little we have, the little seed we have sown, we have seen the impact it's generating, and that inspires us to do more.
Very well said. Now, this conversation will not be complete without talking about it from the advisory board angle. What are your thoughts about NF and how it has grown over years? And then I'll come back to you.
Well, I think the wonderful thing for us is to see a vision that is about empowerment, but just not empowering. It's not just about the filmmakers, it's about the culture itself. It's about aggregating stories that give us a pathway to a greater future, and doing that without losing ourselves, our past, our identity. Well, I think the board is extremely proud of the vision itself,
okay,
and of the work that the founder Ajuaku has done. I'm especially proud to have the opportunity to support her, as I'm sure every member of the advisory board. But it's a big vision. And that's why I think that, the people on the board have their work cut out. I see NF in 10 years, in 50 years, not just from doing festivals, but from the people that have been built from the festival, the kind of stories that they are likely to be telling, and the power of those stories.
What is significant about tonight is you both are festival founders.
Yeah.
IREB Documentary Festival, and of course NF. And we'll definitely end up talking about the significance of festivals in just a bit. But I'd like to get your thoughts on the advisory angle, of course, of NF, how far it has come, and what you think about NF at 5.
Well, I believe that the role of an advisory board is essentially what it says, to advise. And I'm very proud to be a member of the advisory board. The vision of NF to me is very clear. It's quite profound, and it's coming to this region that has been plagued by misrepresentation, and the kind of stories over the last maybe 5-6 years, the kind of stories you hear about the Southeast has not been very, to put it kindly, it's not been very palatable. So NF presents that opportunity for a different kind of, should I say, storytelling about what's going on within our region. So that's why I'm particularly proud to be a member of the advisory board, and sort of, keys into the vision that we have here at Afia itself, which is about promoting stories that uplift the region, not just for amongst ourselves, but for other people outside of the region to have a window into what the Southeast is all about. We're not just one thing, about, people tend to think, oh, Southeastern is just about business or trade, or it's about insecurity. We have we're good people.
Multi-dimensional.
We have you, Juma.
Yes, I'm Igbo by association. I say this every time, Igbo by integration. I can go on and on, but I'm pleased to be here, and it's been such a beautiful journey being in the Southeast for how many years now? I think 6-7 years. It's been such a wonderful time coming here as a core member and being a mom and wife. The Southeast has blessed me. I have no reasons to be ungrateful.
You're showing.
All right, so it's important for us to talk about the opening movie. I'm talking about The Man Died. A lot of people who read this book know that it's an account of Wole Soyinka's imprisonment, during the Civil War era, in the regime of the Gowon era. But it's one thing to read books, and it's another thing to bring them to life in terms of movies. What was the plan? Because in producers' mind, in directors' minds, their minds are very wonderful, I say. Because you might be expecting one thing, and at the end of the day, you get to see another thing. So let's talk about how the idea to bring the book to life came about. And let us also applaud the casting director for the person who played Ojukwu. A lot of people had so much to say about it, but I'll let you go in just a little bit while I tell you, or while we take a look at what people had to say about the opening night.
Yeah, we had a couple of short films playing, and we had The Man Died, and The Man Died is one of my favorite Wole Soyinka books. I have it in my library.
Also, you've read the book before the screening today.
I've read The Man Died a couple of times. The Man Died in All Who Stay Silent in this. So I enjoyed it, and I also enjoyed the movie. It was interesting, and it was well shot.
Watching the movie The Man Died, the movie is very, very insightful and is an eye-opener for me. Now I know what transpired, and if we had to start the struggle again, I know where and how and things to do now because I have information.
Like I got to know about the Biafra thing because I've never gotten the real story about it. So it enlightened me and actually it was fun and I got this, triggering effect when I saw Ojukwu.
Same here.
I thought it was him and I was very, very happy. The casting was perfect. Ole Soyinka looked like Ole Soyinka. Ojukwu looked like Ojukwu. It was very relatable. And I'm actually somebody that really likes history, and I really.
Because she shared my sentiments about the cast who played Emeka Ojukwu. I mean, a lot of people were like, "Are you sure he's not the one? Are you sure he's?" So it was fantastic to see. But one thing I could get from all they said was enlightenment. So talk to us about behind the scene, what inspired it, and how it came about.
Well, I think it's important to pay tribute to Professor Olayinka, the Nobel laureate for literature. First of all, for staking out a position that was very important as a public intellectual and as an artist in a time of great confusion, like during the Civil War. His position was clearly about what was a humane position to take. And I think to be willing to go to prison for it, to also document it, was always something that I considered a gift to us in this generation. We live in a time that's difficult. We are very concerned about our young people and their relationship with history, but we haven't given them an opportunity to learn it. So we took history out of school for a long time.
Yes.
And so our artistic community, all our young people, bringing them into knowledge of what happened, why it happened. And I think the most important thing is the why. The Man Died was, I think, an important project to make at this time, especially. A lot of things are going on that people don't understand. People don't understand the why. Why do people from the East feel marginalized? Is there history to it? It's important to sort of track back and say exactly where did we miss it. And that's so that we can correct it. A lot of the things we're experiencing now was experienced back then. And you have to ask yourself, after all these years, what is it that we're not doing right? And I think the major thing is that we need equity, we need humaneness, and I hope those who watch the film also learned that. As of the acting, the director, Professor Awa Malpa, is very important in this journey because he is like a student of Wole Soyinka from 40 years ago.
Wow.
So in many ways, this film is a love story of that, I'd like an ode to all the students of Wole Soyinka from over 60, 70 years of teaching. And an ode from the creative industries, because one of the things that I thought was very important, that he was a poet, but he was a playwright, and he was not the Nobel Prize winner at the time, but he felt a certainty that his voice had to be strong in a time of crisis, in a time where humanity was right there. It's why we are artists, we are public intellectuals, and I hope that now that our creative industry is so buoyant and so dynamic, and we're teaching young people how to be creative, can we also use this as an example of how the creative can be significant historically? In terms of the casting, everyone that played in this film brought their A game. I thought, Wale Ojo was amazing. Phenomenal. He prepared well for this. Enif brought the lady that played Laide, one of the lead actors. Thank you for that. the guy playing General Ojukwu or the guy playing what's his name, the E Branch, Sam Dede. Almost everybody that came to this not just to act, but to actually make a point. And they understood the material and they understood the importance of it. And that's why we're so grateful to NF that, an opportunity was given to this film, not only to come home, because that's the way I see Enugu with regards to The Man Died, to come home, to connect and to have an opportunity to have this kind of conversation.
Very well said. You made mention of something rather interesting and, rather striking. The fact that for the longest of time, history was removed from the curriculum, the school curriculum, and how important it is as filmmakers for you people, I'm not a filmmaker, to take that stand and re-educate the young ones who do not know enough about our history. So for those who were not able to screen The Man Died at NF, is there going to be another chance to screen this movie?
We have plans. We have plans to take it to universities.
Okay.
We have plans to actually move it around the country. So we're always open to opportunities to show as many people as possible the film, just so that we can have conversations after. Hopefully the conversations while we celebrate Professor Soyinka and the sacrifice that he made, and while we talk about the beauty of the actors, we want to talk about the themes. The theme of courage is important because it seems to be the thing that's missing in a lot of, our engagement politically and in terms of how our country, we need courage to demand accountability from leadership, whether it's local government, state government, national government. We need to begin to question things with a bit of insistence. And I hope that our art and our young people take that from the film more than anything else. Also, the idea that, where you come from doesn't really matter as much as your humanity. And the idea that, we're all in a geographic location, but what really binds us together is that we're all human first and foremost. And when there is inequity, when there is pain, you can't not stand and watch, regardless of the cost. That capacity to have the courage to take the risk and to know that consequences may come, but all of that, to me, are the bigger values of this film. And that's why I'm so eager that we show it to as many young people as possible.
I definitely agree with you. First of all, remember to be human. Remember that you were human. Now, as we round up this conversation, let's talk about the importance of festivals like this to the country, to the region, and to the young ones coming after.
Festivals, like I said, is really an opportunity for learning, for growth. Look, and especially for our region, for the Southeast region, a platform such as NF, I think there's only one other festival, the Coal City Festival. So imagine this is an entire region. Lagos alone has multiples and multiples. So, to have this NF, and especially at this time of the year, as we're going towards the end of the year, it's very important because it gives young people an avenue to network, to see each other, to sort of evaluate progress over the course of the year and to learn, the number one thing that is critical at this point, especially in our industry, as we're, for us in this region, as we're growing, is that you have a platform. And if it's an incredibly wonderful platform for young filmmakers, not only to learn new methods or share, skills and everything, but also to exhibit what they've done or what they are doing. I think that's very important. And that's the beauty of festival, that a huge networking opportunity and a platform to sort of, touch base with the reality of the industry and the reality of the marketplace of being a filmmaker. For you to check yourself and say, this thing that I want to be, what is it like? So, for me, that's one of the most important things about festivals. I'm certainly looking forward to NF, growing bigger and bigger. I like to say that this year, I think for the first time, we got the support of the Enugu state government. Yeah. Government. So, I like to, really just commend the governor and, his team, the Commissioner of Culture, for, just sowing that seed, taking that leap of faith with us. And from what I hear, when they finish the new conference center,
so the plan is that, we met with the commissioner today, that after, I think they'll be done and launch the international conference center, I think sometime in January. And she said that by November next year, that NF will be hosting at the international conference center. And we're excited about it.
I mean, we're all excited. Of course, if we could continue this conversation, we definitely will. But we need to look forward to NF at 6 and go for a quick break. When we do come back, the conversation continues. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to NKA MBA on Afia TV, DSTV 254 and Go TV 17. It's been such an amazing time so far on this special edition, talking about movies, the significance, how much it has evolved. And joining us to continue this conversation is no other than a media entrepreneur, writer, journalist, documentary filmmaker, co-founder also of the IREP Documentary Festival, and associate producer for The Man Died. And rather remarkably, a man who's not interested in social media. Because I did my research trying to find him on social media, and I said when he comes, I will ask. Joining me tonight is no other than the one and only Makin Shoyinka. Good evening, sir. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
It feels like you have a love-hate relationship with social media.
No, not love at all, actually. But no hate. But no hate either. But no love.
Very well said. Okay. Joining me also is another culture advocate, curator, communicator, management, administration, and consultancy. On and on. Joining us tonight is no other than the fantastic German Anikula. Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And also joining us is filmmaker and co-founder of NF, Ike Nnabwe. Hope I got that correctly. I do apologize if I did murder it.
7 years. 7 years.
Ike Nnabwe. Is that better?
7 years.
Is that better?
It's okay.
Thank you so much for joining us. All right, it's a pleasure to have you all here. Right before you join us, we were talking about NF, how much it's evolved, and how far it has come. But for lack of time, I would like to show you guys something that we put together for you. And probably we might put a smile on your face tonight. Guys, if you're ready, I'm ready. I'd like us to make this wonderful people smile tonight.
Wow. We wonder.
How did you get this picture? I don't know.
What picture is that?
It's a lovely picture.
Very lovely.
Oh my God!
That's not me.
Who's that? I don't understand. Oh, okay, that looks like her.
Oh
my God!
That's you.
It's 2007.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is so pretty.
Wow. In the days of innocence.
Oh my God.
Wow.
This is 2010.
When I'm 4.
Alliance run safe.
2004 thereabouts.
Yeah. French Cultural Center. The Ghanaian.
When Femi was still a young friend.
Oh my God!
Hey, as a bit of
What is wrong with you?
My enemies.
Wow.
My enemies.
Oh my God.
This is mad throwback.
Wow, Jay.
Oh no.
This is South
Africa. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh my God.
No,
We're getting closer now.
Who is that?
That's that man.
The day I was sacked at the Guardian.
We don't contemplating Oh my God.
Wow. Really? Wow.
Is this Mandela's house? Was that South Africa? The other one, Mandela's house.
Yeah, this is Eid Pan Days.
It's fun days. Wow. Uncle Oloyede.
Mahmoud.
Wow.
Some used to be okay.
Alright, oh my God.
I didn't show him.
Where we have.
Are you threatening her? You threatening her?
He did.
Took pictures of my long neck.
So, that is a segment of the original program, NKA, where we tend to take our guests down memory lane to remind them of how far they've come. And that's exactly what we chose to do tonight, to remind you of how far you've come and to let you know that we're looking forward to more amazing years to come.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
For lack of time, we cannot go into the origin of Nollywood because it would have been very interesting to have you Lagos people here, have your own version, which will be subjective, about the origin of Nollywood. But I would like us to just round this off in a minute each and just share our hope for Nollywood, what we plan to see in the nearest future, very, very briefly as we round up. So I guess I'll start off with you, sir.
Well, we're taking over the world. It's as simple as that. Our stories are enthralling. We've come a long way. There's many more rivers to cross, but I'm incredibly excited and hopeful.
All right. Okay, sir.
Well, I would follow Femi's, optimism about taking over the world, because basically, literally, right now, the world is looking to Africa. So in Hollywood, there's a lot of conversation about African mythology. And so that puts Nollywood in a very vantage position. So I hope that Nollywood filmmakers are watching and observing what's going on so that we can all position better, basically.
All right, ma'am. What are
For
your
me,
thoughts?
better stories, more partnership, collaborations with people all over the world, and providing platforms for young filmmakers. Yes.
Sir.
Oh, the future is nice. Look, I believe that, like Femi said, our industry, we're on the cups of. We're already great, but I think the greater things are lying away in front of us. I've seen better stories. I'm seeing more passionate people who are not just in it to make money, but I need to make significant difference in terms of stories. And we're going to see a lot more and more of those things.
Well, the most definitive statement ever made about this century is that this is the African century. So I'll be surprised if Africans are not speaking back to the empire, to the colonialists, to those who have oppressed them before. The world they have no excuse not to listen to Africa. That's what Afrobeat is doing. That's what Nollywood is doing. That's what our fashion is doing. That's what our theater is doing, our visual art, our literature. So Nollywood is great, but then we have to begin to redefine our storytelling techniques. We're good storytellers, but we need to learn the techniques so that when we deliver the story, it's not just for Africans, it's just also to the world.
World-class standard.
Yes, yes, we're going there.
Right. And finally, sir.
For me, the Nigerian film industry, I think we're beginning to mine our own stories. We've been telling stories, but we haven't really mined our stories, our history, our culture, the nuances, the context. And stealing a phrase from Emeka here, which we were discussing earlier, about being hyper-local your stories. You have to tell your own stories. They would find a resonance with the global.
Is that why you're drinking local palm oil? I can't come to Enugu and be drinking champagne and wine. No. This is a story, and there's a story behind the palm wine I'm drinking, which relates to Enugu 10 years ago, and visit 10 years ago. But we have to mind those stories, all the contexts. As I always say, we have to tell the good, the bad, and the ugly.
That's true.
Resonates with us. Better technique, better, all the other things, better budgets. So we'll find the global audience.
Yeah.
And, after hearing all you all have said, I'm really hopeful for an episode where we get to hear your version of the origin of Nollywood. Because what comes to mind is looking at our theatre arts students right now. If they were to be asked where the origin of Nollywood started off, a lot of them are confused. They have no idea, which is why I feel that conversation should be had. But of course, wishing Nollywood the very best as we say goodbye. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at Afia TV Official, and keep it there with the beautiful, amazing Grace Ajayi for news tonight only on Afia TV. I remain Jimai Bulama Ashebu, happily saying have a fantastic weekend, and I can't wait to see you next week. Bye for now.